Hello everyone! The Burning Legion has invaded Azeroth once again, and mages are able to pick up 3 different artifacts to empower them in this war. For the Arcane Mage, it's Aluneth, Greatstaff of the Magna, a powerful and dangerous weapon, if tales are to be believed. Aluneth is actually the name of a very old and very powerful arcane entity, somehow bound to a staff through ancient magic. It was used by the Guardian Agewin, and when she relinquished Aluneth many years ago, it was entrusted to the Kid Thor, who, fearing its unbridled power, handed it to the Blue Dragonflight to secure away in secret. Only they would know exactly where it was taken, so we're told to go and talk with the Blue Dragon Caligos, now a member of the Council of Six. From him, we learn that the staff was locked away within the Nexus Vault. He has not been there in some time, however. After the Blue Dragonflight was dissolved, the Nexus was all but abandoned. There is no knowing whether the Nexus Vault is still intact, or what may be waiting in the Nexus itself. Kalik is aware of strange happenings in Caldera, and it would be best to understand them before proceeding. During his last visit to Dragonblight, he sensed unusual energies from the Azure Dragon Shrine. Since this place was part of Malygos' plans during the Nexus War, whatever is there may explain the current state of the Nexus. We get to investigate, but Kalik can't join us in person since he has some Kieran Tor business to take care of, but he does give us an image crystal, which he will use to communicate with us and help us out. At the Azure Dragon Shrine, we check out the clues as to what's going on, what the unusual energy is that he sensed.
This device appears to draw upon the void energy released when Malygos forced Azeroth's ley lines into the twisting nether. The design looks very familiar. This portal is very similar to ones used by the Ethereals in Outland. Could they be the threat? What did Malygos promise them? This weapon has been infused with dark energies from the twisting nether. Whoever wielded it must be seeking to harness void energy. But for what purpose? Yet more evidence of ethereal technology. This may be an unfortunate turn. There's only one way to find out who's really behind this.
Who dares to... What have we here? Another intruder, come to claim the treasures of the Nexus Vault. You are too late. Even now, the powers within the vault serve to widen the breach into the twisting nether. With this power, the Ethereum will become unstoppable. We will become void!
So it's the Ethereum that has taken the Nexus, and yet that seems to be the least of our worries. Their plan to widen the breach into the Twisted Nether poses a threat to all of Azeroth. Now not only do we have our weapon to recover, we must also put a stop to the Ethereum as well. Our journey takes us to the Nexus, and it's quite a trip, so plenty of time to give a bit of background information as to what this is all about. The Nexus War was a war around the time of Wrath the Lich King, in which Malygos, the Blue Dragon aspect and the Guardian of Magic, he had recovered from his insanity, and he realized that during his absence, the use of magic had greatly increased. In his eyes, it was being abused, and to solve this, he started to draw in the ley lines into the Nexus, and ley lines are lines of power that run all across Azeroth. People started to notice this and fight back. Even the Red Dragonflight realized that what the Blue Dragon aspect was doing was not the right thing, and they fought out their war. From this artifact quest, we learned that Malygos also recruited the Ethereum, and the Ethereum is a faction amongst the race of Ethereals that comes from a planet called Karesh. They didn't always look like the mummy creatures we see them as today, but Karesh, it came under siege by Dementius the All-Devouring, who unleashed his Void army upon their world, opening countless of gateways into the Void and the Twisted Nether around their planets. The people of Karesh, they tried to shield themselves with magical barriers, but although the dark energies were blocked, the flood of arcane energy, it tore away at them and it infused their souls with enough energy to transform them into the Ethereals as we see them today. This change also enhanced their minds and magical abilities, which allowed them to fight Dementius and his limited forces to a standstill. But over the years, Dementius grew powerful enough to summon more armies of fellow void creatures, which forced the Ethereals to flee into the Twisted Nether, and they eventually showed up on Outlands, where we helped them out. It seems like they have plans with the Void, the Twisted Nether and the Nexus. From their experience on Karesh, they've learned what they can gain from a lot of power of these realms, and apparently Malygos' actions has torn rifts which they plan to use to their advantage. We can't let that happen, so as we arrive at the Nexus, we check out the place and we see what we can do.
Whatever the Ethereals are up to is generating an incredible amount of void energy. They must be using Malygos' surge needles. Fly over to one and let's take a closer look. The Ethereum have altered the surge needles. They are tapping into void energy caused by the rift. Their power must also be feeding the shield around the Nexus. Let us take a look at the Foundation. The vault must be weakened. The energy from your weapon is breaking its way free. This may work to our advantage.
The energy from Aluneth is lashing out of the weakened Nexus vault, and we can turn this raw chaotic energy to our advantage by harnessing it and feeding it into the surge needles. It will create a rather destructive reaction, so as we go about doing that, let's talk a little bit more about the history of the weapon that we're here to claim. Azeroth is filled with legendary relics and artifacts, but none compared to Aluneth. For hundreds of years, Guardian Aetwin used his Greatstaff to defend Azeroth from the Burning Legion. Yet that alone is not what makes this weapon unique. An entity of pure arcane energy known as Aluneth is bound to the Greatstaff. Harnessing this unruly being and its power requires tremendous precision and focus. Any ordinary mage could never hope to control Aluneth. Fortunately, we are no ordinary mage. The wise and mirthful blue dragons were the first creatures on Azeroth to discover Aluneth. While manipulating the fabric of reality, they tapped into another realm of existence and they made contact with this strange arcane entity. The blue dragons loved unraveling mysteries and delving into the secrets of the universe. They were so intrigued by Aluneth's existence that they summoned the entity into the world for further study. Aluneth immediately went on a rampage through the blue dragon's lair, the Nexus. The arcane presence destroyed countless rare artifacts and tomes of power before finally being contained. The dragons were not angry about what had happened, they were delighted by Aluneth's capricious nature. After years of conducting harmless experiments on Aluneth, the blue dragons satisfied their curiosity and they sent the entity back to its own realm. Years later, Maitre lived during the height of the Night Elf Empire, and he was one of his race's most gifted sorcerers. As the story goes, he spent years exploring the world in search of knowledge. His extensive travels brought him into contact with an unknown blue dragon, from whom Maitre discovered the existence of the arcane being named Aluneth, and the otherworldly plane where it dwelled. The sorcerer never enslaved Aluneth. The being was far too strong and unwieldy for that. Yet Maitre, he found a way to draw power from the entity, thereby using his energies to enhance his own spells. Most highborn sorcerers, they sided with the Burning Legion, and they used their power to help the demons invade the world. Maitre did not. He joined the Night Elf Resistance, and he fought to defend the world. It was during these troubling years that Maitre mastered his connection with Aluneth. In one battle, he and a group of Night Elf defenders, they found themselves surrounded by an overwhelming force of demons. Death was surely imminent, but Maitre did not abandon hope. He called on Aluneth's energies and wove a mass teleportation spell that transported him and his comrades to safety. Following their victory over the Legion, the Night Elves outlawed the use of arcane magic. They believed that the Sorcerer's Arts were not safe, and that wielding them would only lead to another disaster like the War of the Ancients. Maitre found himself unable to give up magic. Doing so would mean breaking his connection with Aluneth. The sorcerer could not bear the thought of losing his ability to draw on the entity's power. Perhaps he lacked confidence in his own skills. Whatever the case, Maitre retreated from society and lived in solitude. No one knows what exactly became of Maitre, but he left behind a wealth of scrolls that would form the basis of modern magic. His writings included a number of spells that the sorcerer had created himself. Even thousands of years after the War of the Ancients, High Elf and Human Magi, they continued learning from Maitre's knowledge. The ability to cast spells from his scrolls was seen as an important milestone in a young apprentice's education, and a measure of a pupil's aptitude. Though many Magi delved into Maitre's scrolls, no one knew of Aluneth. The entity that had played such a critical role in the sorcerer's life was all but forgotten. That is, until the time of Guardian Aetwin. Aetwin was the guardian of Tirisfal, a sorceress imbued with extraordinary power and charged with protecting Azeroth from the Burning Legion. Like all Magi of her era, Aetwin was familiar with Maitre and his scrolls. During her apprenticeship, she had mastered the ancient elf spells much earlier than the other students did. Something had always perplexed Adrian about Maitre. While studying his writings, she realized that the elf had wielded immense power, more than any regular sorcerer should have been capable of. After Adrian inherited the mantle of Guardian, she became obsessed with finding out how he did it. She discovered a series of lost scrolls written by Maitre himself. They were the ones that described Aluneth in detail and even included spells the elf had used to tap into the being's power. Guardian Aegwynn believed that she could use Aluneth as a formidable weapon against the Burning Legion. Yet unlike Maitre, she would not simply tap into the entity's energies, she would bring the being into Azeroth and bind it to her will. Aegwynn summoned Aluneth with ease, but it would not obey her commands. The fickle creature trashed against the Guardian's containment magics and nullified her spell work. Aegwynn reveled in the challenge of taming Aluneth. After many setbacks, she finally bound the entity to an enchanted Greatstaff. The task of containing Aluneth was done, but it would take the Guardian years to truly harness its power. And harness it she did. But one of the greatest battles that Aegwynn had while defending Azeroth was against the avatar of Sargeras, the ruler of the Burning Legion himself. This was not Sargeras in his true form, it was only an avatar containing a portion of his strength. Even so, Aegwynn's opponent was powerful beyond measure. She raised Aluneth high and called down a storm of arcane magic to annihilate Sargeras. But nothing happened. The entity bound to Aegwynn's weapon resisted her command. As she struggled to assert her will over Aluneth, Sargeras launched a furious assault against the Guardian. Ultimately, Aegwynn put Aluneth aside and chose for a more reliable weapon. She summoned Atiash, a mighty staff passed from Guardian to Guardian, and she renewed her attack against Sargeras. Though Aegwynn did defeat him, the battle changed her forever. Unknown to the Guardian was that the Legion's ruler had transferred a portion of his spirits into her soul. Aegwynn's demeanor darkened. As the years passed, she grew suspicious of the Council of Tirisfal, the order of Magi that had imbued her power and given her the mantle of Guardian to begin with. To distance herself from the Council, Aegwynn used Aluneth to force a secret refuge. Atop a place where magical ley lines came together, the Guardian crafted her spell. She harnessed the full potential of Aluneth's energies, and reality warped and shifted around her. Legend has it that a great tower then rose from the earth. It would become known as Karazhan and play its part in many stories. For centuries, Aegwynn spent her time strengthening her control over Aluneth. She dispatched the Legion's demons with ease and secured Azeroth's safety for generations. She eventually gave birth to a boy named Medivh, who would become the next Guardian, and in time, Aegwynn planned to pass Aluneth on to her son. But that day would never come. The spirit of Sargeras had passed on from Aegwynn to Medivh, and over many long years, the Demon Lord twisted the new Guardian's thoughts. Sargeras used Medivh to bring the Orcish horde into Azeroth, to weaken it and get it ready for an invasion from the Legion. When Aegwynn learned of Medivh's actions, she confronted him. Mother and child unleashed the full fury of their magic upon each other in a battle that would decide Azeroth's future. Even with Aluneth at her command, Aegwynn could not best Medivh. He had the Guardian powers after all, he had the spirit of Sargeras inside of him, and she only narrowly managed to survive their encounter. Medivh's corruption was eventually discovered. He was vanquished, but that brought Aegwynn little solace. She was tormented by what had become of her son, by the darkness that she had unwittingly passed on to him. For a time, Aegwynn retreated from society, and she entrusted Aluneth to the Kirintor of Dalaran, and it would eventually make its way into the Nexus, and now here we are, ready to claim it.
The shadow is lifted. What little mind is this I sense that has freed my consciousness from the ethereal's trap?
The Surge Needle's been destroyed, and the blue dragon Azurago's consciousness was apparently trapped by the Ethereals. When Deathwing at the end of the Cataclysm was defeated, the dragons lost a whole bunch of their power and they became mortal. The Dragonflights had to figure out what their place was in this world, what the role was going to be, which is why we don't see the blue Dragonflight around the Nexus anymore. But apparently Azuragos, he has returned to secure the vault. Malygos always trusted him to watch over the magical artifacts in the care of the flight, so if anyone can help us get the weapon, it would be him.
So, the lock on the Nexus has been broken, and by a common adventurer no less. Will wonders never cease? If you've come to engage me in battle in hopes of obtaining some spurious trinket, I'm afraid you're too late. The Ethereum have taken the bite out of this old dragon, and I fear they have robbed me of anything you would deem useful. If it's looting you desire, as your kind so often does, then I suggest taking the fight to them. Wait, are you here after them? In that case, I could use a hand. Ah, you seem quite capable, mage. With their magics gone, I feel my strength returning. I assume you come seeking the Nexus Vault. Why else would anyone return to this place? Unfortunately, access to the vault is proving difficult. If you help me access the librarium, I will find a way through. We must not let the Ethereum obtain the artifacts it holds. But first, I think I'll slip into a more comfortable form. These halls were never quite spacious enough for my tastes. Shall we?
We need to reach the librarium, but the weapon has become very chaotic and is lashing out all over the place. Using our special abilities, we get around the Nexus, while also defeating anyone that stands in our way until we reach our destination.
We're here! Now let me see if I can find a way into the vault. As I suspected, the entrance to the vault was broken off when Malygos breached the Twisting Nether during the Nexus Wars. I feel the powers it holds resonating through the Nexus. There must be another way to reach the vault. Aha! Wait a moment. The energy from the vault is surging! Brace yourself!
An echo of Aluneth spawns, shooting arcane orbs and arcane missiles all over the place, and even ends up in a block of ice, which, don't be mistaken, it's not like the ice block mages use. You can still damage him even when he's in there, which I did find out about eventually.
That was too close. If the weapon goes unchecked much longer, it will bring this whole place down around us. Quickly, we must head to the rift. It's the only way. Wait, didn't there used to be a bridge here?
Fools! You may have destroyed the Surge Needles, but you are too late to stop us. The power of Aluneth will rip open the breach!
Oh, great. More ethereals. It looks like they're channeling the energy from the vault into the breach. This is not good. Come! Time to show these ethereals that I still have a bit of fight left in me. I will bring whatever power I have to bear against the Nexus Prince. But in my weakened state, it falls upon you to finish this threat. I hope you are prepared.
You are too late, interlopers. Nothing can stop me now. I have become void!
Bilal has tapped into the Twisted Nether, absorbed enough energy, and has changed his arcane form into that of a creature of the void. I've done a more detailed video about this, but in short, at the beginning of it all, there was light and then there came void. These two forces eventually crashed together, and from that explosion, the entire Warcraft universe as we know it came to be. As the universe formed, the most chaotic energies, they formed into an astral dimension, known as the Twisted Nether, where light and void bled together, throwing it in turmoil. Now this information is from the Chronicles, so it's still pretty new and a little bit vague to place it with the already established lore, but like I said, check out the video linked down below if you want more details. For Bilal, he desperately tries to use his newfound powers against us, pushes off the platform, all that good stuff, but with Azuragos flying up above, we're able to overpower him and bring him down.
What? The void cannot be defeated! No!
Ha! 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 So much for the all-powerful void! You know you're not a bad ally. Pity you're not a dragon. I can open a portal to the vault, but I'll have to remain on this side to keep it open. The way is clear. Hurry, little one. I can't keep this open for long. You made it. But to leave this place with the weapon, you must first gain control of it. Good luck.
Inside the Nexus Vault, our prize, the weapon stands waiting in the middle. But unlike me, who's an idiot and simply tries to pick it up, you have to go around and place 3 ancient scrolls of Maitre to calm the rampant arcane magics and make the arcane entity more susceptible to your will. I don't know if I missed a bit of the questline or if I forgot about something, but I don't remember picking up these scrolls. If I did forget it, please let me know. Either way, we have the scrolls, time to put them to work.
No mere mortal can grasp the wisdom of Aluneth. I will not succumb to your paltry magics. I am infinite. I will not be contained. You are not as powerful as she who came before. You cannot succeed. You fancy yourself as worthy to wield me as the previous guardian? You are but a child to me. You foolishly think you can control this power. So be it. Come, child, let us wreak havoc upon your foes, and I shall see what you are made of.
Well done. The energies from the vault seem to be stabilizing. Now hurry back before the portal closes and you're locked inside. I am impressed. Never have I seen a mage capable of controlling Aluneth. The Ethereals have been routed, and you have the weapon you came for. Your business here is finished. Mine, on the other hand, has just begun. I thank you for freeing me. You have given me the greatest gift of all. That of time. I will use that time to secure the Nexus. It must never again fall into the wrong hands. This portal will take you back to Kalagos. Please give him my regards.
Azuragos is going to stay behind and keep an eye on things. I guess that his relationship with the spirit healer is truly over and done with, giving him some extra time to do stuff like this. Arcane Mages now wield Aluneth in the war against the Legion and their adventures through the Broken Isles. It even whispers to them from time to time, constantly trying to convince them to let them drain a bit of mana here and there, like from the city of Dalaran or the ruins of Suramar, but it also mocks them as they make portals for others or waste their talent on pudding. Ah well, they might be able to wield this power, but they can't force him to shut up. However, that is where we'll end the story for today, so thank you very much for watching everyone. Subscribe if you like my videos, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and until next time guys, see ya!